means it implies that there is a way that might. Right. So you chase it in a positive way, not in the old way of doing things. I'll share with you just something that happened to me this morning. I had a really busy day. I got up really early to go and give talks and meetings and the rest. And my mind began really chill and at peace. And I have this practice where I put my foot off the side of the bed, and as soon as my foot touches, I know to trigger that the purpose of today is to serve other beings, because I understand intellectually where the world comes from. So I'm doing that practice. And when you do something, it becomes habitual, and say, like, yeah, I've got to do that. And then you move on, you know. But today I did it really well. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that. That's good. I feel energized. And my mind wanted to say, why don't you complain that you had to get up early? I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. I'm serving other people. And I walk downstairs, and why don't you complain that you didn't have much time to get to the train? I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. Yeah, and so it was like swaying, like Kung Fu Master, whatever, you know, swaying. And I'm like, I got this. This is really good. I get to the train after like 20 of those. And then there was really no reason to feel any negativity, because I was chilled. Everything was practiced. Everything was on time. I knew what to deliver. And to get on the train. The train was on time, no problem. And my mind just wanted something else to feel that thing. And I saw it like what you described. I'm like, I don't need to be there. My mind just wants that. And I am not that. And it had this freedom quality to it. I know it sounds simplistic, but I hadn't felt it in me in that way for a long time. This kind of separation between the habit of creating your own unhappiness. My mind just wanted something to complain about, you know, and I wasn't having it. My mind, what the hell, who is there? You know, I feel like I'm Jim Carrey talking. It doesn't make sense, right, if you talk in those terms, because the terms we're talking in, not the experience. So renunciation is that kind of thing, and that's one of the living day by day that you want to develop. And the next one is that towards everyone else. Everyone else deserves a freedom from that, and I want to help them, because if I can figure it out, I can stop so much suffering, you know. And I've seen people that might not have that capacity at the moment. I need to help them. Yeah, there's nothing else to do here. And then the third state of mind is that you develop. The third of the three principal parts is correct view. Really intellectually, initially understanding, what is this world? Is it the way I'm experiencing? And intellectually, we got enough logic and reasoning to destroy, even in scientific perspective, destroy the physicality of the way we think the world is. It ain't the way we think it is. We know that, but we operate on 80% is good enough. So we abide in that view, and that view destroys us. So correct view is like remembering first, then habituating through practices, including meditation. Yeah. So that's the first course. Then last week and the week before, we talked about what is refuge. What is the thing that really protects you? The idea of protection. There's lots of refuge. Refuge requires two states of mind. Number one, fear. Like you don't want something. You're afraid something's going to happen. Number two, your mind naturally goes to something that will protect you from that yucky. Yeah. Most of the time we go to nominal protection, which helps nominally, you know, relatively, but doesn't help ultimately. And Buddhist refuge is the idea that there is something, there is a thing, which ain't a thing, which can totally, completely protect you ultimately. And it ain't somewhere out there to be got. It's something that you already have inside of you. Yeah, and that is the understanding of emptiness. You have emptiness of everything. This world is covered in that thing. We're stuck in a body and mind that can't see ultimately how things exist. We are forced to believe that the limitations of our senses is the world, and it ain't. Intellectually, we get that, but experientially, that's the path. So refuge is going to that understanding over and over and over, despite the relative world behaving in a way that is habitual. I know I'm talking about that. So before we move on to the next thing, we're talking What is nirvana? Last week we talked about in the definition of nirvana, there's the word individual analysis. What the hell does that mean? Yeah. The 3 parts. This is a trick question. 3 parts to reach a state of nirvana. What's a gotcha? Let's see if you can cheat. What's a gotcha? The thing that is denied by all this logic and correct view. The impossible thing that we're all always relating to. If you understand what it might be, this impossible thing, this impossible world, then you will be able to identify it every time it pops up and not believe it. Like the thought that wanted me to be upset about something all the time. Yeah? So then we talked about the 2 parts that make Tantra work. Briefly, I touched that at the end. And so to make sure that you have your name in the record of all karmic collection, there's a big bearded guy somewhere seated here recording your name, big bearded guy. So I'm going to group you into 4 groups. We're going to have Anthony, can you take care of that group in the corner here? Ming, you work with Paul and take that corner group. Aaron, you get that corner group. And Rachel, Sarah, Richard, you guys take this corner group. Welcome into 4 parts, everybody's name on that. Discuss the double-sided answers for last class. Then we can make sure everybody that wasn't here last week understands what we taught. That's your job, yeah? And your mind is refreshed, and then we can move on to the next thing. You have 20 minutes max. Enjoy.
No.
Do you need support? Do you need cheat sheet? Do you want Stephen to be with you? Or you can? Gather and collect. Hi. Again. Gather and collect.
Yes. Otherwise known as a state where you freely give and receive without paying. A state of constant freely giving and receiving without
Have I said that? You guys are weird. How are you? Nice. Just like nice energy.
One of my text last week asked me a question, like, would you rather have the cutest puppy in the world or fly? And I was like, fly. And she was like, do you know where I got that question? And I was like, no. She's like 8 years old. She's like, you asked me that. What? Why? Like a year ago.
That is so cool.
I told her to stop asking questions, or mom was, and I said, Laura, why don't you ask good questions? She told me the story, and she was like what? And apparently that's what I told her. Like, question.
I like that. I like that it came back.
Realization of what is referred to.
Can you get my face?
Yeah, hold on. I finally said one old thing. Here we go. Face like that. Thank you.
So nirvana is defined as a permanent sensation in which one has eliminated the mental obstacles in their heart as one individual analysis.
Sounds like a long definition to me.
Yeah, you're right. Habituation comes out.
And
Yeah,
we
but wait,
understand
you're saying the analysis is habituation? No,
Next question.
Does have to handle analysis here?
Are you?
One of those what does individual analysis? Are you writing individual analysis?
I don't think so.
After the direct perception.
Yeah. For our truth.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I don't know if you need this, but I think
So individual analysis, so
This is pretty much
perception.
in that you correctly perceive.
Right.
The official answer is become a master of the spiritual refers to a person's realization of the four realized truths. This name by some people is the four nobles.
If you see, if you realize this directly,
Yeah, two things is that they should be called four noble truths. They should be called Arya truths.
Correct.
And basically it's the suffer.
Well, method is
Yeah, the other course, whether you, training in the, is actually direct experience or if it's pretty much like what, this is what we are doing. I don't know.
Life is suffering. It's caused. You did it. It can stop, and here's the path. Remember that? It was that.
Is number 3 you did it?
No, number 2 is,
You did it.
well, it's a cause, but in the realizations, you're like, oh my God, it's my action with ignorance that creates the suffering. Because every action I'm doing without understanding ultimately. So it's not like you're ignorant. Yeah, it's your ignorance. So you're like, I got it. It's suffering, but it's caused. It's not always suffering. I can stop it, you know? Because it's coming from my misunderstanding. And then that means, I cannot see it. The realization, the individual analysis means at that moment, after seeing it directly come back, you actually have an experience. You remember an experience in the meditation that you met the Dharmakaya, you saw the ultimate mind of an enlightened being, your own, the emptiness of a Buddha's mind, Dharmakaya, you saw that, which means you met a Buddha. You come out and go, oh my goodness, I've done that. So individual analysis is like after the experience of emptiness, which is interesting because that's the definition of nirvana, right? It means you have to have seen ultimate reality, direct perception, and then your mind flips like a domino and goes, yes, it is suffering, but not the way I thought it was. It's not knife stabs and cancer, and all of it is produced because my mind misunderstands reality, and I've caused all those things through the way I engage the world. It's caused. It's not just always like that, solid and I'm screwed. It's caused, which means third path, I can stop it. It can stop for good. I've seen it because I just touched an ultimate mind, a mind that is free from that. I've touched it. And then it's like, oh, I've got all this shit to do before I get out of it, which is the last of the four. Yeah, it's like there is a path to get out. But each one of us, it's individual, will have the 5 stages. But for you, it might be, I'm going to have to work for 2 lifetimes, not being angry at my wife. I'm going to be, for 3 lifetimes, I'm not going to, I don't know, have sexual misconduct or whatever it is. For each of us, we know we've got our own way out. But from that moment on, you're done. You know the end is fixed. And that's what individual analysis means. The interesting thing is, because individually you analyze each of these 4, that's why it's individual. The interesting thing is, to me, that is linked to the definition of nirvana, which means, my goodness, I have to go through that step to experience nirvana.
So basically,
So you can't disconnect the 2. You can't say, oh, that's just heady stuff I can't do. It's like you want nirvana, you have to investigate ultimate reality so much that you have that direct experience of it. Correct, yeah. It's an internalized realization. Good. Yeah, but the English translation of whatever the Tibetan is, whichever the Indian was, they called it individual analysis. So your mind analyzes individually each of these 4 things for you. You're not doing a non-purpose analysis. It's you're pushed into it. Yeah, as a result. Exactly. Yeah. It's like oh. And that happens for the next 12 hours after seeing it.
How do you know that happens?
Well, you've got dozens of people reporting it happens. That specific thing, and then dozens of commentaries going, oh, don't think it's this, and don't think it's that, and don't think it's this. Now, and then you can look at non-Buddhist experiences of this, because it's veiled with Buddhist language. And you can talk to Jim Carrey and say, what did you experience coming out of that? Is it close to this? Is it? You will find, if you understand this language, you can umbrella other beings' experiences to them. Right, yeah. So I can only give you the engine map for this one. Well, it'll be caused, and that's the thing. Everything is caused. This is giving you the cause and the result. So that's why I like this system, is because I see the entire map. Other systems, I only see a portion so far. If I've gone and study, I don't see how the whole design creates a result. Sorry to hijack your conversation. You've got 5 minutes.
You're realizing that everything's caused
By the way you engage with it. Yeah, because that, if you have ignorance in your actions, it's going to be broken. Apologize. What did I say? He very recently had an incredible experience.
In other words, if you don't know what it is,
you have to go first.
I don't think it's all.
Okay, guys, I'm going to talk about the questions.
Yes, you do. This was a trick question, because I gave that very quickly. No, it's more than the 3 baskets of the first 2. You would have missed it if you didn't see it. No. Anthony's going to give you the cheat sheet. I'm talking to them.
I keep looking at her and thinking it's you.
Stop hijacking the conversation. I got in trouble.
part one is become a master of the extraordinary training of
Okay, you guys want to
Which means understand. I'm over here. I'm studying the thing.
I don't understand.
Sorry, I'm not even looking anymore.
Temporary wall.
Yes.
Well, let's have a little bit more. Stick a little back.
No. I mentioned it very quickly at the end. It has to be spoken by. Are you done the last question?
Has to be spoken by.
Go on.
Has to be spoken by a qualified master.
And
the person studying has to be a qualified student.
So B is assure that this.
look up the answer sheet.
Oh, you're getting it, it's just that, it's not just all the pen.
If a dog walks into the room, does he see a pen?
Right, no, I
No, she gets that.
I've done it.
So we're saying,
So where's
Well, you might be able to bodhicitta help everyone that is in.
No, we're denying that it's self-existent.
Okay, like for example,
Yeah, that's the ethical side.
they're like, this is who you are, and I'm like, no, and then they're like, no,
For you, you're different because you perceive it that if you were self-existent, everybody would see Jamie in the exact sense that you'd be emanating whatever it is. That everybody has a different perception.
it's saying B, is that I say, is you with morality. Yeah, but it's just like, it's just like, you have
Wait, just because anybody else has a picture, there's no like me.
So there's 5 different perceptions.
Which is a denial, because even if you go down to no, everything's like made up of atoms. Yeah.
That Jamie does not exist.
Energy, whatever, there's still.
Because there is no Jamie.
So then there would be
There's a billion perceptions. There is no one self-existent.
That's
universal.
Okay, I got it.
See if
Okay.
But the path of sin, we are willing to see.
The problem is that.
The path of sin.
The problem is that you are Jesus. But that's not.
Let's see, you may automatically
Assume that you can expect that on a remain without my receiving. That issue comes on that. It is that way because so the thing that exists on its own without any of those, without me seeing it,
Therefore, no single object. So think of it this way. I think it's a little bit easier when you think of like no self.
the thing that exists
Like
on
I'm
its
Rachel.
own.
Would I be Rachel without my laptop? Probably. So I'd be Rachel without.
That's not just one thing though.
Everything.
That makes them
Yeah.
every
single.
Which part would be Rachel?
So completely.
Like that is why. So it's voice. That's something like there's a law of nature. It's proving that there's no sexualness independent of like parts being organized at such a level.
Very cool.
I'm more confused than ever.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
What is important is like why do you object that?
She does it.
I'm ignoring you. Because I'm something else. What do you need?
We're talking about what? We're talking about parts.
Sorry, you're doing
So Rio was asking about the acceptance of emptiness, one of them is part of many.
Sliver of diamond or the one or many? Yeah. The proof of one or many? Yeah.
I don't, yeah.
Person must also be
If this was one thing, yeah, you'd be able to capture it when you see it. Yeah, it is a phone. And it's just saying that the whole thing is a phone. But the fact that you can identify it because it's got parts, the back of the front, it can't be one thing if it's many. Right? If it's got a back and it's got a front, it isn't one thing now, it's two things. A back and a front that I call a phone. So phone is dependent on at least two things, a back and a front. So it can't be a phone, it's a collection of parts. And then you can go, okay, that's fine, but what about the back? The back is a part, right? There it is, it's one thing. No, because you have the top of the back and the bottom of the back. Your eye does that to say, there's stuff really quickly, your mind then collects it into back of phone. So it can't be one thing, it's many. But you can't have one or many be one thing. You will never find the one thing, which means nothing is the way it appears. That's just one proof of saying phone is empty of being this. It's made of parts. Sorry? It's at the same time, and if you proved it for one, you can prove it for everything in the universe, which means everything in the universe is a collection of things. Now that's one proof for a lower school, really. Thank you. Can you give it to Rachel? She's the boss. And do you need help? Janina offered, right? It's her birthday today. That's why she's not here. She did?
Yeah.
Did you wish her happy birthday? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Rosemary and time. Legs very asleep. Can I get more water?
Yeah.
But I'm the teacher. She's the one that's getting all virtue.
I'm getting virtue by allowing her to get virtue.
Nice.
I like it.
I use that a lot.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I saw, heard, tasted, felt, and interrupted a whole bunch of really good conversations on understanding. Thank you for putting your minds on these things. It is rare for people in the West to actually do this. It's actually rare for people in the East to do it. It's rare for humans to want to investigate reality to this depth and follow the logic. Thank you. So even if you're not getting full ahas, which I believe most of you are getting ahas, either in explaining it or hearing it, you are creating imprints in your mind. You are affecting the state of your mind just by seeking to understand it. And that must have a result, okay? So today we finished, last week we finished the second of the 15 courses that we're reviewing. In this course, we're reviewing the first 5. So we then begin course 3 tonight, which is applied meditation. So this week and next week, we're going to review applied meditation. So why do we need to know this stuff? First of all, I want to be as blunt as I possibly can and dispel. Yes, Rachel gets those. Thank you. Homeworks go to Rachel. Quizzes go to Rachel. Rachel is responsible. You're welcome. For those of you that need the readings, just go to hectormarcel.com and there's course materials and you'll see all the PDFs for the readings, the quizzes, etc. If you need help getting there, I can show you at the end. Yeah. But once you go there, you'll know what it looks like. It's easy. You can download it all. If you need to catch up on previous week's classes, this is broadcasted via television on the internet called You're a Tube. You're a tube. Okay. So this class in particular is going to be direct, full of Tibetan lists, way more than any other class in history.
What?
Yeah. So your job is just write them down, okay? I'm going to try and give you as much as I can, but we're just glossing over a very important part, okay? Next week is the part of the meditation course that really we need to go in a little deeper. So next week, we dumped as much as possible into this class so you can get the framework. And next week, we're going to get to, what do you think we're going to get to next week? If you figured out the most important part of this practice, yes?
Concentration.
Yes? Emptiness, right? We're going to talk about, thank you. Yeah, cool. Whenever in doubt, when people say, oh, what's Buddhism? Just say emptiness and karma. Yeah. At least you, yeah, Om. If you want to really blow them out. If you want to be really out there, go Namaste. That'll just annoy them. Okay. So meditation, the first, why do we want to know this? Here's the big answer, right? You'll see in the text, in the first text, the 4 fierce river currents. Do you remember that in the Lamson Namsum? Think of your mother, see how they feel. They are swept away in 4 fierce river currents. They are birth. Oops. Birth. And always, what's chasing you? As soon as you're born, right? You must. It's this thing. As soon as it began, that's getting it. Yeah. It's part of it's coming about. It's ending. Yeah. Don't be upset about it. Transform the bastard. It doesn't exist self-existently like the pen. Yeah. This is the essence of the path. What is the second of the 4 fierce river currents? Sickness. Yeah. The third. If you live that long. And lastly, death. But with this practice, you can ka-ching, yeah, and transform that. I'll give you a quick. This is not required. If you don't see red boxes with numbers in it, it's not required for your homework, but it's required for your knowledge. Yeah, know that there is a clear lineage of the stuff we're studying is not made up by anyone, definitely not made up by myself, definitely not made up by Geshe Michael, definitely not made up by Ken Rinpoche, definitely not made up by Trijan Rinpoche, definitely not made up by Pabanka Rinpoche, definitely not. All the way to Asanga, etc., etc. So this comes from the Buddha, and then from a text called the Prayer of Samantabhadra.
Whoa,
that's a sexy one, I know, but we're going to change it quickly. No one ever saw that. Master Asanga in his book called Ornament to the Sutras of the Sutras. Master Vasubandhu, who was Master Asanga's half brother, cool. And then Holy Master Kamala Shila, and this we'll study next week on the stages of meditation, all the way down commentary to the Lamrim Chemo, and then the lineage I just described. Yeah.
I really want to hear what's so much about it.
I know you do, because you're so interested in sexy times. I believe you should focus on abstinence, is that right? And concentration. Yeah. So let's get real for a second, okay? I believe this quote is from Tsongkhapa, but I can't remember, to be honest. I remember putting it there after going, this comes from a great book, and then I forgot to figure out which of these books I pulled it out of, but it's a quote from someone.
What is it? Really? It's a
Valley.
Valley.
It's with the Valley Girl accent.
Oh, you know, if you want to make fun of me, fine. Thank you. English second language, okay? Grow up. How's that?
You're mixing up the 2 words.
Here we go.
English third.
English third language.
Really?
Okay. La meditación, para ser real, es, queremos saber lo que es en verdad. Okay? Esa parte de la comunicación que vamos a tener ahora es todo sobre qué es la meditación. No podés caminar desde acá hasta allá. Sí. A ver, decime. Nice, nice.
Solo inglés.
Todo inglés, por favor. Okay. So let me get us up from a view around meditation that we are beginning to sink into in the West. Okay, Steve and I just had a nice meeting with a young startup company that is well known that wants to have some meditation and yoga from the 3 jewels, right? And what do you think that company wants from meditation? Relaxation, and cope with the world, etc.
And become more successful.
More profits.
Yeah, exactly, right? So not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not the point of meditation. If you've made it this far and have entered a class, if you're beginning to understand that the world comes from you, even if you understand it intellectually, that the world isn't that way from its own side, that there's something in you projecting this experience of the world, then you've just entered into a room projected by you that is telling you reality can shift because it comes from you. So you want to understand ultimately, deeply, truly what meditation is for. It isn't just to be happy. It isn't just to get over stress. It isn't to decrease your blood pressure. It isn't to make you more successful. Those things are byproducts, but if you're in this room, don't fool yourselves. That's not the goal of meditation. Actually, I'm even willing to say meditation is not a spiritual path. Meditation is not a spiritual path. It's not a goal unto itself. Meditation, it is just a tool for you to focus and understand the place where everything emerges, your mind. It is just a tool. It won't get you enlightened, but it'll get you enlightened. It is not a spiritual activity. I can meditate on a turd. No, seriously. I can figure out a way to meditate on a turd. And because my mind is like a sponge, whatever I place my mind onto, my mind becomes.
Oh,
like Twitter. Or the people that tweet. Yeah? Whatever I place my mind on, my mind becomes. The more I deeply go and place my mind on something over and over and over, the more my mind takes on those qualities. You see how meditation is just a tool to impact the place, the thing you call mind. So it's not like, I'm a meditator and I'm so spiritual. Sorry. It is just a tool. If you don't use it that way, you're going to use it. There is benefit in sitting and meditating, calming your mind. There is benefit. You're going to get low blood pressure and all these things. Absolutely, no problem. But if you're going to do it, don't waste it if you understand where the world comes from. So that's my first thing. Cause and effect don't go out the window because you're meditating. I'm so spiritual. Cause and effect are even deeper at the most foundational part of your existence, which is your mind. Whatever you put your mind on, you will become. The more you put your mind on something, the more you will become that. Karma, which we talk about later, is just the cause and effect relationship between what you do and what you get. And you can do it out there. You can do it. Karma comes in 3 mechanisms, right? What you do is a karma. I punch you, that's a physical act. Yeah, it gets imprinted where? Right? And my mind then projects that reality later. Verbally is a karma. I say stuff and my mind experiences me hearing it, and it creates an imprint. But what's the third karma, or the foundational karma? Your thoughts. It's the very foundation. So meditation, please don't fool yourself, okay? It is just a tool. It's not a path unto itself. It's just a tool, like in any other tool, that will get you a result. The result is whatever you use that tool towards. You can get single-pointed concentration on a turd. You will have a result equal to whatever you placed your mind on. Is that good? Fair? Cool. Don't fool yourselves, okay? Don't let your minds fool you. Don't let popular Instagramming fool you. Now, do you need to sometimes engage the world that way so the world can get closer to meditation? Absolutely. No problem. Yeah? But for you personally, don't go there. Mm-hmm.
It seems that the same is true for your motivation to sit. Like your motivation to meditate, not just the object that you're meditating on, but the reason why you choose to meditate.
Well,
you can also have.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it is an imprint of the mind. But whatever you habituate your mind to, as I habituate my mind, my motivation for sitting day in, day out, it's just placing my mind on an object, my motivation.
I was giving you a really good segue to
For?
the 30-day challenge.
Oh, no, you're not getting that until the end of the day. So let me give you a few. You are not required for the homework for this, but I thought I'd pull this out of ACI 3 to give you some of the Tibetan words that are describing what we group as meditation. Okay, so you got, what's the first word that you know in Tibetan that is meditation? Gom, which means habituate, to return your mind over and over onto something. So Gom is one word that translates to meditation, yeah? But it's really the type of meditation that's just habitual, the returning your mind over and over onto something, getting used to something, returning over and over. Anything else? So let's go there. If you return your mind over and over on a negative object, we'll talk objects next week, okay? In a negative object, you're meditating, you're gumming, yeah? You're going to get what kind of result? Negative, right? Hence, putting your mind on the highest spiritual object you can think. In the meditation we did today, we created a spiritual teacher, right? What higher object do you need than someone that figures everything out and your mind is habituated to that? What would be the result of that? You becoming that. It's not because, oh, holy teacher, you're so cool over there. There ain't no teacher over there separate to your projection of a teacher over there. Samten is the word we use for the 5th perfection out of the 6 perfections. Samten. Yeah, what did I call it?
Oh, I wasn't listening. Maybe you said it and I just.
What did I call it?
You didn't say it. You didn't say it.
I said Samten. It's the word that you use to describe the 5th perfection, which is
Shamatha.
concentration. No. We'll get there, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you worry. I'll give you the next 2. What else do I tell you about Samten? Oh, it's also, Geshe Michael's been teaching these would be called Samten meditations. The meditations that result in your experience of the form realm.
Oh.
Or the formless, there's Samten meditations. So if you're speaking Tibetan, that uses, it doesn't really matter to you. What I'm trying to say to you is that we say meditation in a culture, in a society that for over 1,000 years, they have been doing nothing but investigating the mind. They have these minutiae descriptions of different states of mind, which we are yet to develop in the West. We haven't developed. We're trying to go, okay, one is habituation, Nobody thinks that's meditation. You know, one is a stable state of mind. Nobody thinks that's thing. You know, the next one is equilibrium or something. It's, yeah.
Why does it say fifth perfection?
Because they say Samten is the fifth perfection, the perfection of concentration.
Oh.
Yeah. Cool. Nyomjuk is cessation equilibrium. It's where your mind, it's a description where your mind has almost shut down. Yeah? What's equilibrium mean, do you think? Balance between
This world.
Inner and outer.
agitation and dullness. Very nice. So when your mind has gone between the two extremes of meditation, where your mind is agitated, up too much, low too much, and you've achieved equilibrium, good on you. Can she get extra points even if she failed every question? Yeah. So that when your mind is almost shut down, they give it this word.
What does almost shut down mean? Does that mean like sense withdrawal, samadhi?
Yeah, well, we'll get to samadhi, but it means that it's really hardly moving at all. You've reached a very base level of consciousness that it feels like nothing is happening. Yeah. It also is something that results in the formless realm. Yeah?
Formless or
formless?
Form. Oh,
We've
really?
done the form, and then the formless.
Result.
Form and form.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Nyamshak is equilibrium again between agitation and dullness, but often in texts this is referring to the state of mind that is in the direct perception of emptiness. Okay. You can get all these access. I'll put this up on the Facebook, yeah. And then you have samadhi, which is tingenzing. Cool. Tingenzing, yeah. Single pointed concentration.
Are these in order or are they just different?
No, they're just different. There's more than these. There's way more than these. This is just the collection of the most, like the main ones. You know, I think when Geshe-la was teaching this, he was highlighting how Eskimos have all these different words for snow. Yeah,
It's like 11 different.
Yeah, many words for snow, right? Because there are different qualities to snow. Well, the Tibetans have done the same for mind, for states of mind, states of concentration, meditation. So Ting and Zing, let me give you a... Huh?
What does it say under Nyamshak?
Direct perception of emptiness state.
Okay.
Did I spell that wrong?
He just initialed it right.
Cool. So Ting and Zing, let me just blow your mind for a second, okay? Is your ability to hold your mind on an object. But it doesn't say for how long. So you're all in samadhi when you're looking at your Instagram account. Yeah, especially you.
Yeah.
So that makes it super mystical, right? Well, big deal, right? Like, oh, he's in samadhi, he's so cool. But don't get lost in that stuff, please, okay? You have the capacity for samadhi, no problem. But if you put it on turds, you're becoming like turds. Yeah, sorry. Stephen's like, I'm a turd. Okay. Single point of concentration. You all have it. Dogs have it when they're like, they're so cute, I know. But
is it the same as shamatha?
no, that's not shamatha. This is samadhi. Shamatha is your ability to do this for a prolonged period of time. It's shine.
I knew that answer. I was saying
with a bliss sensation. So you can now sit in samadhi for a long time in a blissful state. How's that? Yeah, it's the highest samadhi, shamatha. So stay in quietude or staying in peace.
So what's the difference between those last?
Well, concentration, you can be in samadhi, like I'm in there, in single point concentration, but you can just be in and out for a second. This is, let me say, this is shamatha, is single point concentration with a state of habituated bliss that you can sustain for a long time. And you need this for what? For direct perception, for a platform, direct perception of emptiness. And there are how many stages of this?
Of what?
9, yeah? 9 stages that you develop.
No, there's one, but they're 9 stages.
Stages to get there, yeah. And that's what we cover next week. Thank you. Yeah. So that just
wouldn't it be leading to Nyamshak? Like,
No, it's just that you're having yamcha, and that's just the name they give to being in that state. That's all. These are all names for what we call meditation. Okay? We haven't developed the verbiage for the experience because we haven't had enough Westerners having these experiences yet. We're beginning to.
It's like we don't have enough experience to discriminate.
To discriminate between these things, yeah, because we haven't had enough people go through these stages. Yep, cool. So now let me begin your list. Well, good there, happy campers. Anything I need to tell you? Shamatha, it's attainable. Shamatha, emptiness, shina, concentration, most of that. Samadhi, I've told you that. Stay in a quiet place. Hallelujah, ladies and gentlemen. Question 1. Okay.
Oh my.
The beginning of the list. This is probably one of the most important things, right? Why? Because I'm about to give you the list of the 5 things that are needed for a good meditation. You require all these things. It's also the 5 subjects that we study meditation with. Tonight we'll cover 4. Okay? What do you think the first thing, the very first thing, if you had to say, I require this for a meditation, what would be the first thing you need?
space.
He said posture.
Space.
Space.
A
A
mind.
human body. A mind. You're all weird. Okay. If you're about to do something, you should
Prepare.
Hey, someone cheated. Yeah. So how to prepare. Thank you so much for all you saved me. Yeah. We're going to talk. So this is what we're going to talk about. Okay. This is the list of lists. Is that cool?
No.
This is the lists of the lists we'll talk about tonight. So wait till I finish before taking your photo, because it'll come down to here, unless you want individual analysis. Okay, so how to prepare is 6 preliminaries, and it's slotted in the 5th preliminaries are the 7 ingredients, which we did in meditation today. Okay, we sort of did that. We did part of the 6 and all of the 7. We're going to cover that tonight. The 2 lists of the first thing that you need to meditate, which is prepare. You're good so far? This is going to be annoying, okay? Where would you need to meditate? You need to figure out your ideal environment, right? Which is another list of 6 conditions, the first of which has 5 parts, sorry, about what would make an ideal environment for meditation to work. Is that cool? The second the second thing we're going to study tonight is the list of the 6 conditions of which the first one has 5. And then you said you'd need your posture. We're going to talk about the 8-7 point Varachana posture. So you can make that list either 7 or 8, depending on who you are. And if you like Monty Python, you can put your coat in the lower peg before you get your haircut, but not after we play the football game. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're good. You prepared for meditation. You figured out where the place is going to be and what kind of conditions that has. Yeah? You are now have your body in place, ready to meditate. Then what happens?
Object.
You got a mental process at that. Did you cheat? Oh, nice. Someone's been studying. Yeah. Then we're going to go through the mental process that you would go through to actually have a successful meditation, which includes 2 lists, one of 5 typical problems that we can group everything under, and their 8 antidotes or fixes to those problems so you can have a successful meditation. And then next week we'll start on the 9 stages to get to shamatha. Yeah? Cool? So this is up to today. It'll be up to, I can't go any higher. We finish on the 8 antidotes. And then next week we'll do the 5th of the things that are required for a good meditation is what to place your objects on. I'll give you a hint, it's not turds. Okay?
Place your meditation.
Huh?
Place your meditation.
What to place your mind on.
Your mind.
Yeah, the object that you hold for, unless it's what?
Unless it's one of those yogis in India where they eat poop.
Yeah, but see, they're not eating poop. If you're at that level, you're not eating poop. it looks like eating poop for people that are in the world of poop.
Well,
There would be no poop in a world. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
You're in the stage of no more pooping.
Yeah, let's call it the stage of no more poop.
Which is
It's between 4.
It has 6 steps. Pushing.
No, between 4 and 5.
Okay, let's see. Who took the meditation teacher training in this room at the 3 tools? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. Okay. What did we teach there?
Number 1.
Number 1, right? The 6 preliminary 7 ingredients. If you were going to become an expert at anything, if you're going to learn to run, if you're going to learn to paint, if you're going, would you think you'd be successful without preparing? If I said, okay, let's run the marathon now, would you not prepare if you wanted a successful marathon? Yeah? Would you not prepare? It's the same here. You have to prepare before meditating. Why? Because the state of mind we're in is not a conducive state of mind for what you want to do when you're meditating. So you need to do your stretches and all the preparation stuff. And this is the 7 ingredients, the six preliminaries and the 7 ingredients. So I want to start with the first 3, which would be, let's see for those of you who remember it.
What's the question? For wait, what?
For the 6 preliminaries. What are the first of the 6?
Okay.
Clean up and tidy up.
Yeah, clean
You've been studying at G's class, or you're still cheating. Good, thank you. Okay, so here's the list. The first thing you do is create a clean and sacred space. Traditionally, it means create an altar. Did I spell anything wrong there? No?
Yeah,
Yes.
they are.
Altar, damn it.
Well,
Yes.
altar.
Alter ego.
alter your altar.
I was an alter ego.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you're happy now? Look how quickly I changed that.
I
Yeah?
think preliminaries is wrong.
Damn it, prelimin. Is it me? M-I?
Yeah.
Hey,
You thought you were going to teach.
thank you for helping me.
Yeah.
Spelling lesson. 3rd grade.
How's that? That was just for you. Is that better? Thank you, Paul. Okay. So the first 3 of this list of 6 is you want to create a sacred space. If you come at this with your understanding of karma and emptiness, it goes deeper, the result will be stronger. But even if you don't, just nominally go, you want to create a place where you return to over and over, and it has the qualities that will allow you to be in meditation. Yeah, so clean, not dirty, not covered in cockroaches, etc. If you were really inviting a teacher that came over, if you were really inviting the Dalai Lama, if you were really inviting whatever that being was for you, and they were really coming to your house, wherever your meditation corner is, what would it look like? How would you set it up in the morning? And that's the idea, okay? You have to place in your mind the possibility that you will meet a teacher who is everything for you, and you're going to create a welcome mat. This is the corner. Here is the offerings I put out if you do show up. Yeah, now, is someone really showing up?
Yes.
Eventually, if you do this enough, you create the courses for them to show up. Will they show up in that room? Maybe, maybe not. But you are creating an imprint in your mind as you create a holy space. That must have a result. It's not like I'm just doing a ritual. As soon as you think of it as a ritual or whatever that someone told me to do, you're screwed. You're not doing it because someone said so, because some culture created it. You're doing it with complete understanding that what you put in your mind creates your reality. So the more intensely you put it in your mind, if you understand the laws of karma, the quicker that result will come. The more intense the result is. So trick yourselves. Don't let your stupid ego get in the way of saying, I'm not doing religious stuff. It's not religious. It's you generating your awesome creation for your future contact with a teacher. And the more powerful you make that experience, the more you habituate your mind to feel that experience, the more likely that action will have a result sooner rather than later.
But if you already have a teacher, how does that connect to?
No problem. Invite their essence there. If they're a teacher that you believe are enlightened, then their mind is reading yours all the time. So just call them there. And then they see how beautiful. You see them enjoying it. Yeah? So set forth beautiful offerings as if they really would come. Fresh, beautiful offerings. And there's a traditional way of doing that. I'll share with that in a second. And then part 3 is you go to refuge and hold the wish. At that point, you're sitting down. What's going for refuge? Why did I put A and B in the? Huh? Because there's 2 parts. If you're sitting there going, that's not going for refuge. That's just saying weird words by yourself in a room. And that will have a result. If you're really going for refuge, is you're remembering in your mind, there is a painful existence here, and I want out. There is the 2 parts of refuge, A and B, is like something doesn't work, something's hurting, yeah, I don't like it, and something can help me. And if you understood last class that the ultimate refuge is, that's the result. What's the ultimate refuge? Huh? The 3 jewels of the ultimate refuge in Buddhist practice. And what that relates to is your understanding of emptiness and doing acts of truth in the moment. Refuge is when someone is hurting you, you remember it could only come from you having done that to some degree in the past. And here it is, full-blown experience. The last thing you want to do is purposely want to hurt them. That's an act of truth because you understand where things come from, even though it doesn't appear that way. He appears to be angry all the time. Then I must have caused that. By logic, I must have caused that because I'm experiencing it and they're not. It's in my experience. It's in my mind. I put that there. I hate this suffering. I want it to stop. Stopping it isn't punching him or angry at him. Angry at him is creating more angry at me. True act of truth. Real refuge in the moment. I take refuge in the emptiness of that thing. It doesn't have anger out there separate to me. It is dependent on me. I caused it. Act of refuge. I won't be angry at you. Doesn't matter how much you yell at me. I love you. I'm sorry. Even if you have to vomit saying it. It's better to vomit than to have that over and over in your life. So refuge at this point is like bringing your mind to some degree to that truth. Whatever isn't working in your life, you are responsible for and you can stop it. Individual analysis. Yeah? Which is like, and I can stop it by understanding the Buddha jewel, Dharma jewel, Sangha jewel. Ultimately, it means the emptiness of the Buddha's mind is same as my emptiness of my mind. Dharma is the whole understanding of emptiness. The highest object, Dharma, is emptiness, that things don't have a nature. And those beings that have seen emptiness, they've taught me how to do it. I've got to think of whatever you can do to think of those 3 things, or whatever act of truth you can think of, then you're taking refuge. And you sit there and create your mind. That creates a fertile flavor to the seed you're about to plant in meditation. So you're preparing. You're already laying out the groundwork for a healthy meditation experience. You are creating a course in your mind to have a result. And it's not to bliss out while you're working away at some shitty job. Sorry. It's not to have low blood pressure while the world is giving you cholesterol. Anyway, here are some traditional offerings you might put out. Water for drinking. No, water for washing your foot. Imagine the teacher comes, and in ancient India, they'd come and they would have walked all over cow shit, so you got to wash their feet. Yeah? So imagine washing their feet. You put out water in a water bowl for drinking. They've come a long way. You give them, am I showing that
Yep.
up there? No. Yeah. You have a look in your face. Some people have it in reverse, I know. And then some other practices have it in a different order too.
So we do it.
This is why I'm showing, yeah. And then after that, you offer them flowers. And this you can have, you can go, this can be a beautiful practice unto itself. Each one of these can relate to subtle experiences. We won't go there today.
Yeah. It's water to wash, water to drink, and then flowers.
Flowers, yeah. And then incense. And then light. You make them offerings of light. This is what the water bowls are when you see them on a thing. You're imagining this. Are there really flames on the water? Good, if you're a good practitioner. After that is ointment on their bodies. The seventh one is food, delicious yummies for them to enjoy. Yeah. And the last one is music. Now, you can do it all sorts of ways, okay? Let me just share a couple of ways. That's one way as you're imagining that. You're going to get, this is the stuff that's physically on the altar. Yeah? Then you sit down, you go for refuge, bodhicitta going, I'm doing this for the sake of everyone else. And then you do what we've just done today. You visualize the collection of holy beings, the field, merit field. Yeah?
Is music uncomfortable?
Yeah, it's the conch shell.
But it could be with the bowl.
It could be with a bowl. Some people have the bowl. Yeah. Number 4 is you visualize a collection of holy beings. You invite visually, mentally, your teacher to come here. Why would you do that? We did that in today's meditation.
It supercharges everything that you do if holy beings are, well, there's a million reasons why, right? Like protection, but also like if you're doing something in their eyes, doesn't it make it more effective?
So why would that's good. Why would bringing a holy teacher, the highest being you can imagine, the most evolved mind and being you can imagine, bringing them to mind, why would that help you?
They're your way out.
They're your only way out. The highest you can imagine a being, if you can really imagine that it's possible for beings to be enlightened, to be awoke, free from suffering completely, that their minds had totally evolved, not partial, totally evolved. You know, we have this tiny range in human form. A little bit of sadness, a little bit of happiness, a little bit of sadness, a little bit of happiness. You can have worse suffering, better happiness, worse, more and more. Imagine the ultimate of that. Could that be possible? And if you believe it can be possible, then you generate a being with those qualities. And if you were lucky enough to meet a being with those qualities that you believed had those qualities, then you bring them to mind. That's why the Tibetans are going, Holy Dalai Lama, Holy Dalai Lama. Some people don't see that in that being. But if you're fortunate enough to see it, then you bring whatever you can master in your mind that has the highest potential. Virgin Mary, baby Jesus, I don't care so long as you genuinely understand the highest quality there. Now, if you can feel them in the room, that's even more sensory data that it's putting a deeper imprint. Because the end result is you must have your mind imbued with that. Your mind must resolve that experience for you. Cause and effect doesn't go out the window because you're meditating. It's still cause and a result game, but in the deepest, most fundamental place, the place where every experience is filtered from, the place from which you experience everything without exception. You are coloring that mind. So that's why these, over the thousands of years that people have been meditating, and these practices came from India through Tibet and to us, they've touched all sorts of places. This is saving you time. See, we have to get our minds from the normal everyday to a place where we can meditate. This is not meditation. This is the preliminaries to meditation, spelled with a Y-E-E-S. We're good so far? Yeah? Am I boring you? You're like sitting there going, what? Um, Then we go to part 5, which is gather goodness and purify obstacles. The point here is that the state of mind we come into meditate, the one we're preparing from or through, comes with a bunch of baggage, a bunch of already imprints, and a bunch of qualities you want to amplify. So this step 5 out of the 6 preliminaries helps you cut down the negativity that might stop you from meditating properly, and amplifies, increases the good qualities that would let you make that imprint in your mind. And this has 7 steps. That is 7 ingredients, okay? So far, you've gotten up in the morning, you've cleaned your room. If you haven't cleaned already, which you should, you just do a quick tidy up and make some offerings, yeah? Then you go to sit down thinking, or you do your prostration, refuge, and you sit down, bodhicitta, think of other beings. Is that cool so far? So now you're seated. Then you sit there and you visualize, imagine they come. That because you sat down, enlightened beings around you are cold like honey to a... That one, to the thing. Yeah. And then you're like, okay, I'm here, dudes and dudesses. Thanks for coming. All you perfect beings. The more perfect you can believe, the better. And you go through this thing called the 7 ingredients to clean your mind of things that might stop you and increase your goodness. And the next part is, it says, bow down to holy beings. Is that right? Yeah. Bow down to holy beings. We did this really quickly in the meditation today by just calling to mind the highest quality that you find in their mind. So you're sitting there in meditation, you now bring your mind back to the collection of beings you called there, yeah? And you think of their highest qualities. Something that makes you drop to the ground with awe. Something that makes you weep with the idea that that quality actually exists in a living being. Something that makes you pang at the heart that rare beings throughout history have met these beings, some of which are painted here. Whatever you need to do to emotionally charge your state, you can do at this point to be ready for meditation. This is preliminaries to meditation. Yeah. If you haven't got a daily meditation practice, begin with this. Maybe for a week. Just make sure you at least sit by cleaning the room, putting out nice offerings, and you have this cool rhythm going on. Yeah? And then sit after doing prostrations, thinking, may I think, act, and speak like an enlightened being, then sit down. That's it. That's all you need to do for the 2nd week. But habituate yourselves in this practice, because it is the foundation of all future practices in this system. Yeah? Then you visualize a collection of beings, and you can do that for months. As much detail as you can have, the better. You can smell them. You can see them sort of gently swaying on their seats. You can see them brilliant. There's no stopping your imagination to create a experience in your mind that these beings are here. And when you do that enough, I can tell you that eventually when you go into a deep meditation retreat, you will meet the result of those courses, and you will see them as a reality in a way that you didn't think was possible, but you realize, I am the conductor of this thing. It just took a long time for it to come. You remember the moments you did these very specific things when you meet the result of these. It might take you 20 years, but it is worth it. So you bow down mentally, you make them offerings, and in this, because now you have mental offerings, you have no limit. You know, there's lots of practices here. You can imagine if you really want to power it up, depending on who your teacher is or who your holy beings are in front of you, or as many or as details you have, you can create really sexy emanations of offering beings that take up to them these 7 things or these 8 things, or give them a flower, or just create the most exquisite sunset, or the kiss your mother gave you when you were a baby. Whatever it is that is the most exquisite thing, you make offerings to them. You can create the universe into rose petals, softly falling upon that. Whatever it is, enjoy this part. Really make them the most beautiful offerings here. And in this part, the next part is you are now still engaged with them. Now this is the only part where you actually get to clean out negativity. It's called a confession. Yeah, it cleans your karma, which means you must do a version of the 4 forces. It's the only thing that's going to clean your karma. If you don't know what the 4 forces are, you have to take course 5, which we're going to get to review in December. Yeah. Essentially, you think, is there something in my mind, in my continuum of my mind right now, that is holding negativity? Is it a self-state of belief about who I am? Is it some action that I did recently that I regretted, that I shouldn't have done because the result of that will cause me harm? Is it yelling at my partner when I didn't need to? Is it getting frustrated at my own progress and thinking I'm just normal? Is it forgetting the miracle of existence? Whatever it is, you're saying that's keeping you with this being in front of you, you say, look, I want that done. I'm sorry. I see how it's creating blockages and I want it to stop. I confess that I have caused my own suffering, created the seeds for that to result in some suffering, and I regret it. I don't want it. It's not like I'm sorry, I'm guilty, I'm a terrible person. It's not that. It's like you've caused some negativity in you that will result in some negativity in you. And you want it out as if someone had shot you with a gun and you just want the thing out. Yet to do that, you've got to have some kind of conviction that it's going to give you a result. And that's the first part of the 4 forces, and kind of understanding of refuge, cause and effect, emptiness. Then you need to have regret. Don't want it inside me. I want it out. Then you need to say, I promise not to do that next time I have the opportunity to. Some kind of commitment. And lastly is I'll do some makeup activity. And for me, in this point, is the makeup activity is this meditation. It's a cheat. Yeah. Then you do the same for virtue, for the good things in you. You sit there and you amplify the goodnesses that you've done. You don't make them normal. You amplify them. You sit there and go, what have I done today, this week, this month, whatever, that is actually extraordinary? For me, these classes often sit in the preliminaries. Having the mental capacity to sit here and discuss these things and understand them to a point where I get to embody them and live them, my God, with a group of beings, that's a miracle. There is no higher thing I could do than help flip everybody's mind to an ultimate way of seeing. So to me, these classes are the kind of goodness that we get to do. And then small acts of kindness, multiply them, rejoice, think of other people's goodnesses. All the people doing the 30-day meditation challenge for the 3 jewels. Whether we're successful or not, the fact that people are doing these things is transformative. Rejoice, be happy. The fact that I got to meet teachers and that I'm connected with them, for me, is a source of joy. So you sit there and pump yourself up because you need extraordinary virtue, extraordinary goodness to get through this path, because samsara is pushing us down. Sorry, this is the pattern here. Things that go up must come down. Yeah, we're in a setting. Yeah, I told you that story enough. Then you sit there and request for teachings. You beseech them. You say, please, you beings over there, however it is, at any point, whether I fail, whether I succeed, whether I'm asleep, whether I'm awake, whether I'm hurting, whether I'm joyful, whisper the teachings in my ear. Whatever I need to do to get faster to you, to that state, just wake me up. Don't let me fall asleep. Please teach me at every turn. And then ask them to stay, meaning, literally meaning, don't die on me before I get awakened. Please don't move away from me. Please don't disappear. Don't become normal. Whatever it is for you, it's like whatever it is, please stay in this precious, vibrant, magnetic form. The more correct view you have, the more this is true. You're creating the courses to have more teachings. You're creating the courses to have more teachers if you understand what you're doing, because things are empty. Yeah. Woo. And then dedicating the goodness to all beings. At this point, don't forget, this is still preliminary. You say, I dedicate this, please stay, and I dedicate this to the meditation I'm about to do. Yeah, so all this goodness, all this charging, all this removing myself from an old way of being to this state, now you're ripe for almost meditating. Yeah. And then the last stop is you request their blessings. What's requesting blessings mean? It's a jinla.
Isn't it that you would have the capacity to understand it?
It increases your spiritual ability. Yeah, so partly it is capacity to understand it. So requesting blessings is you have some visualization, some sensation, something that they, whatever they do, is that they grant you or show you or give you access to increase your spiritual capacity, to know what to give up and know what to take up. That somehow you will see that throughout your day. This is just the preliminaries. Damn. Okay. And then you're right for meditating. You good? So that covers part one of the 5 groups of lists that we're covering, right? The first one was prepare for the race. Yeah? We just finished that, which included 6 preliminaries and the 7 ingredients, which are part number 5. You all good? Not hard? Good. I tried to make it as simple as possible.
And clearing karmas is the only one that's purifying, and the rest are gathering good.
Good, good. Everything else is gathering goodness. The only one that's getting rid of negativity is part of number 5. A small part of number 5, which is confession. Yeah? Good. So, asking for blessings is a super important thing, because it's planting the seeds in your mind to say, please increase my capacity to know what to do next. Yeah? So as I go into meditation, please increase that capacity. Jason Kappa spent half of his life asking for blessings, doing rituals for a jinlap, to ask for blessings over and over and over and over. So that act for him was the thing that would result in him having extraordinary experiences. 7 ingredients, hey, we did that. 4 forces, we did that. Don't skip the rejoicing. Don't skip the rejoicing. Yeah? Now, what are we going to talk about next? What was the second of the lists? The conditions, the environment. Yeah? I'll go for this one quickly. Yeah? The first one is you want to stay in a conducive state, place which has 5 parts. I'll give you a summary of this part of the 6 conditions to an environment. Basically, is you want to be in a place, both physically and mentally, that are conducive for you to be able to concentrate, to focus, to bring your mind to single-pointedness and on a high object. So they are all about that. The first one here, the 5 parts of a conducive place, is have everything you need. So make sure that as you sit down to meditate, if it's in your room, you don't have to get up every half hour to go, I'll get the water bowls, or I need a new cushion, or just have everything you need. If it's in retreat, make sure your retreat place has everything you need: running water, electricity, air conditioning, whatever it is. Yeah. Safe place means you're not going to get harmed. You're not going to get bitten by scorpions 5 times. Good environment means it's not too hot, not too cold, not something that's not going to get you sick. Good friends means the people that are serving you are with you mentally. They believe what you're believing. You don't have to sit there in meditation and wonder whether or not they're going to turn up because they don't really believe they're going to support you, etc. And having goodness is nothing bothering you throughout the day. So no wild animals, no people chattering during the day. Yeah, it's a good place. don't go to India. If you follow this list, you know, people are like, I'm going to have a spiritual experience and I'm going to go to India or Nepal, and dogs are barking. Like how many dogs are barking in Nepal at 3 in the morning? 6, all of them. Anyway, so you get the idea. That's the first of the 6 conditions. The next one is live simply. Begin to say, my life, if I want to transform this life, I need to be able to meditate, because it's the tool that will get me through these paths, the 5 paths we talked about before last week. So I don't need too many things. Reduce the things that you require for your existence. You don't need 15 email accounts. You don't need all these extra things. Just the right drink, just the right blanket, just live simply. Yeah, stop wanting too many things. The next one relates to it, which is just be satisfied with what you have. This is for the boys. Yep. Like really, in everyday life, have the state of mind that it's you're fortunate to have what you have. Yeah, this state of mind, if you can cultivate it during your waking days, if you ever go into a meditation retreat and you're sitting there and you're like, I'm going to have a really good meditation retreat, but the attendant didn't bring me the broccoli, then don't eat broccoli. Shut up, you're meditating. Like, be happy with what you have. Yes, but I wanted broccoli today. You're meditating. Your whole goal is meditating. Like, be satisfied with the miracle that you have. Go hungry for a day. Shut up, meditate. You're there to meditate. You're not there for broccoli. Yeah, that's probably a little harsh, but stop being a Loompa Loompa. Yeah, stop being too busy. Day to day, like we're forever jumping from here to there. Begin to reduce that if you want to create the state, the conditions for you to have a good meditation. This is a mental condition. In every day, that translates to stop being too busy. In meditation retreat, I suffered from this at the beginning of my last retreat. I'm like, I'm going to finish all the ACI homeworks. You know, I'm going to study these 3 texts. No, you're there to meditate. Get your mind on meditation. Resist the urge to keep being busy. You're not going to get to that state of meditation if you don't get there. Maintain an ethical way of life is number 5. And this is not just because. Why would you want to maintain an ethical way of life?
If you perceive yourself disturbing others' minds, then your mind will
Excellent answer. If you perceive yourself disturbing others' minds because of karma, you must experience the result of your mind being disturbed. And what's the last thing you want in meditation? Your mind disturbed. So it's a perfect correlation between virtue and having a state of mind that can meditate, that is not disturbed. Yeah, and usually before a big retreat, before a 3-year retreat or before a serious retreat, a person would do a ton of intensive virtue, intensive goodness before going and sitting their mind in a meditation thing. For example, Geshe Michael Roach, before he did his first 3-year retreat, what did he do with his entire life? He translated the entire 20-year curriculum of the Asian Classics, what became the Asian Classics Institute, and he taught it to hundreds of people around the world. And with that karma, with that virtue, which there isn't a higher virtue than to teach people how to get out of suffering, he went into a 3-year meditation retreat. Right? So it's that kind of powerful virtue, goodness, you need to do in order to get a result. Cause and effect don't go away. You just got to know what cause, what effect. Yeah. And the last one is get rid of sense desires and worldly pressure. Stop getting addicted to the senses. One of the things you will do in meditation, especially as you enter samadhi and go into shamatha, is that you will withdraw from the senses. So stop the addiction to the senses. Mental, physical, yeah. If you are addicted to your partner's scent, they will come up in meditation, in your meditation retreat. If you're addicted to whatever else, you get the idea, yeah? Drop the ego. Okay, the next one we'll do quick. We got that. That's the Conditions. What was the other part of the conditions? Actually, no, that was it. What's the third step in the 5 steps to a good meditation? Your body, your posture. Here we go. This comes from a text called the 8.7 point Parachana. And the first one, did I do that? Not yet. 8 point. Here we go. Why is it sometimes called the 7 and sometimes called the 8? Because of the breath that you'll get to it. The first one says, make sure your legs are stable. And people are either in the lotus or half lotus position if you can do it. What's the point of your posture?
Comfort.
To forget your body. If you're uncomfortable in the lotus position, don't force it. If you're busting a knee because you're forcing a posture position because your Instagram picture needs to be just right, you're not meditating. You're creating a picture for your Instagram to be just right. Yeah, you should not be in pain. Begin to habituate your body through practicing a posture. Now, the Buddha taught several postures for meditation, right? Walking meditation, lying down meditation, sitting meditation, standing meditation, right? In this system, because it's a fast track to the tantric system, we are taught to habituate a sitting posture because you need that for more subtle blah, blah, blah. So habituate your mind into some kind of sitting posture. You're going to need it for your long retreats on perfect objects.
Some people are interested in sitting in a chair or kneeling on cushions.
No problem with that. So long as your spine is straight. So long as your spine is straight and you're not in pain and you can withdraw from the senses, that's what we're aiming for, because you're going to need your spine to be straight, meaning if you imagine a flame somewhere at your belly button about that far away from your spine, and you imagine another flame at your heart about that far from your spine, and you imagine another one here, and somehow you're sitting there and you can align those flames, those tiny, like a pilot flame or something, and you can, then that's what you want to be able to do for more advanced practices later. Yeah, so let's leave it at that. We haven't gotten there yet. So far, it's the legs. It's a stable thing. What I'm saying is get to a place where your legs can be stable. If you can't do sitting cross-legged, do sitting on a chair. No problem. No problem, really. Yeah, the back here is important. Then it says your eyes. The instruction is eyes open, not closed, not. In Tibetan, that's the Tibetan. Open not, closed not. So what the hell are they talking about? It's neither open nor shut, because if they're open too much, your mind begins to go, oh, look at that color, different here, different there, right? If they're completely shut, you're falling asleep because you're habituated to shutting eyes equals sleep. So somewhere where you're letting just a crack of light coming in, your eyes are usually 45 degrees angle, focused anywhere between 6 and 11 inches. You can have a whole bunch of instructions on that. The idea here is you're withdrawing from the visual sense. You're withdrawing from the tactile sense. Yeah? You chose a place where you're withdrawing from the auditory and olfactory sense. Point 3 is your back is straight but not tight. Yeah, that's the pilot flames I just talked about. Your shoulders are not leaning one way or another. The point here is your back is straight. Another way to think about it is like that string pulling you up and maybe pulling you straight down to the core of the earth, and you're like grounded really nicely. The idea is that spine is floating there. Your head not tilted to the right or the left. Am I there yet? Not tilted this way or that way. Your mouth, they say, is your teeth, and lips are your tongue. Your lips and teeth are in the natural position. Your lips and teeth are in the natural position. All it's saying is don't clench your jaw, yeah? A little bit loose, so you're not like that, meditating. Yeah, you're relaxed, and your teeth are not touching. Your lips just have air coming in and out, although you're not breathing through there. They're just natural. Your tongue is sitting to avoid saliva dripping out of your mouth. Your tongue is touching the part of the palate that touches the back of the teeth. And once you habituate that and the eyes and your thing, work on your posture, which necessitates you working on your cushion, which means your backside is a little higher than your knees if you're sitting down that way, right? Because you want your back to be that way. It's essential. Habituate that, and it takes time. It takes time to habituate your eyes from doing that, and you're not freaking out. It takes time to habituate your tongue sitting there. Play with it, enjoy it until you get used to it. Once you get used to it, we're creatures of habit, you'll be used to it. Yeah, and then just a slight change in the cushion will piss you off. And then you have to habituate yourself. True. For that and the object. The last one is the breath. Yeah, you're not controlling the breath, you're watching the breath entering and exiting your body like we've been practicing here. It's something you observe as an observer, as a third party almost. How interesting is this thing? Yeah, it's this rhythmic thing that is happening with you. And you can imagine either the tactile sensations of the abdomen, the chest. You can get really detailed. Sorry? Sorry?
I missed one.
You missed 7?
Yeah.
Which was?
The tongue.
Tongue.
And 6 was the natural teeth and lips.
Thank you.
Cool. We're good? I'm rushing. Here comes the last slide. It'll be 10 minutes. You good? No. We did that, we did that, we did that. Oh, some people don't talk about, in our tradition, we put left leg first and then right leg over, left hand, then right hand, thumbs touching at around the navel, because it's all significant for something. If you can do that, good. If not, then put your hands here or here. The idea is you don't want to be doing that, yeah? You want to be doing that, and naturally, not like, ready? There are 5 key problems that most people have when they are doing part 4, which is the mental processes, right? Which is 5 problems, 8 antidotes. Where are we? You're going to have good things and bad things. You can overcome the bad things with the good things, just to give us a nice dose of Western imagery. Okay. 5 problems. Tibetan. Good. Yay. Lay low, which means laziness. It just means you don't feel like meditating. It means you're not even heading to the cushion. It means you're sitting there pressing the alarm pause. It means you're like, I'll do it later today. It means you don't really understand why you should meditate. We all have it. If you get this one, you're screwed, because you're not even going to the cushion. Yeah, everyone has lay low. It is laziness. You just don't feel like it. And it's because we don't understand it. Okay, we'll cover the antidotes in a second. What would be the second one? Come on. Forgetting the instructions. Good. You don't know what you're supposed to be meditating on. Cool. Losing the object. Yeah. We'll talk about the antidote to that. Mental dullness and agitation, the 2 extremes of the equilibrium you want to get to, right? One is your mind is too much or too little. Yeah, too dull or too hyper, right? And I just want to address here that mental dullness, which comes in 2 forms, which is gross and subtle, very good, is the death of you, because dullness, gross or subtle, is where we actually believe we're progressing in meditation. I spent years in that state thinking I'm doing okay, really. Yeah, I'm like, this feels okay. But my mind was sort of half shut down, and I feel I'm progressing because I'm meditating, dude. Yeah, it was in the rainforest and I'm doing cool and nice. It's good. But really, it makes you more stupid. Believe me, look at me now. No, it does. If cause and effect never fail, then allowing your mind to sit in a dull state over and over and over and over and over again will result in your mind being more dull and more dull and more dull. You need to engage your mind. Your mind will naturally go there. So dullness, subtle or gross, are the death of you. More so than agitation. Agitation you can see. It's like, okay, I'm hyper. I just want to go and think about this and that. But dullness will give you the impression that you're progressing when you're not. So careful.
The body. I mean, that's why it's false.
It's false, yeah. And some people, think, oh, I've reached some kind of spiritual state. I'm going to sit here. It's the death of you.
I feel like it's easier to remedy than agitation, though. Like, for me, when I hit dullness, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not agitated anymore. I'm not. I mean, maybe that's just my like personal thing, is I tend to be more agitated. But then I'm kind of like, oh, now, well, I'm like dull, so now I just need to get a little bit brighter. It's like
Right.
Yeah. Easier.
That's nice for you, because you can. We'll talk about the how to fix it in a second. Yeah. I want to give you 3 words: fixation, and this is not going to be up here, clarity and intensity. Yeah. What would fixation be?
You're
on the object. You're fixed on the object. You have the object. Yeah. What's clarity mean?
Right.
Your mind. Yeah. Not the image. Yeah. But your mind is clear, bushy-tailed. Yeah. Is that bright-eyed and bushy-tailed? That kind of. Yeah. And intensity. It's vividness, right? It's like it's intense, as opposed to what's the opposite of intense? Weak or. Well, I'm trying to. Qualities are these 3 words relate to subtle or gross dullness. I'm going to now, if we understand these 3 words, which is, are you fixated on the object? Is your mind on the object? That's fixation. You're holding something, right? Fixed on the object. The other one is, the next word that I gave you is clarity of your mind, right? Is your mind like, or yeah, clear or fuzzy in relation to holding the object? And then how intense is that experience for you? Yeah, that's intensity. So for gross dullness, you have fixation, but you don't have clarity. For gross dullness, it's like you're holding the object, you're sitting on it, but your mind is sort of like sleepy. Make sense? For subtle dullness, you have fixation on the object, you see it, you have clarity, yeah? Like your mind is like, okay, I'm on it, but there's no intensity to the object. You can't see, let's say visualizing your teacher, your lama, you can't see all the detail, vivid and alive, and they're present. They're this fuzzy image. Is that cool? Just as an aside, so we can talk about subtle and gross dullness agitation, which we'll talk about more next week. The last one is, the fourth one is, failing to take action when you should take action to correct dullness or agitation. Yeah? So number 3 is like, oh, I've noticed that I'm dull or agitated. The 4th problem of meditation is I haven't done anything about it yet. Does that make sense? And then the last one, which is a typical Tibetan list, is the habit of taking action. Because you keep fixing dullness and agitation, you get to subtle dullness or subtle agitation, and you have some kind of doubt about, am I really in the zone or not? And then you go and fix some shit when you shouldn't be fixing shit. Yeah, you're actually meditating, and you think you've gotten used to fixing everything. Like, I've got to bring the mind up, bring it down. So doing something when you shouldn't be doing. These are the 5 big problems of meditation. We good so far? Here come the 8 antidotes. The first 4 address the first problem. And so it's called faith. I put belief. Why would you not want to meditate?
I don't think it's going to help you.
In essence, you have some short circuit in your mind that doesn't understand what it will do for you. And if you want a list, I can tell you that seeing emptiness directly can only happen in meditation. If you want out of samsara, it can only happen in meditation. Yeah? If you want the fancy yogic promises of meditation, is you will be able to fly, read other people's minds, eventually see everybody's mind, like I said, etc. Yeah, so you can get all those qualities that come out of meditation if that's exciting for you. But ultimately, you can get to a state of freedom by getting to the nature of your mind, and you can only do that in meditation. every suffering in your life and the world you see can be seen in meditation, and you can stop it by having the four truths, the experience of that after seeing it directly. So then, first of all, you think of the benefits. Well, if I do this, it's going to get me there. Secondly, it's like, okay, now that I think about that, I want it. I really want it. That's so it comes naturally. And when you want it, you actually take action, and I'm going to go and do it. Yeah, but it's still a struggle. You see, laziness still, lay low still got you until this is the real antidote to laziness. You've gone through those first 3 steps enough that you have what's called practiced ease. Is that right? Practiced ease, where physically your body and mind are so used to sitting down and going, I like it. I experience the benefit from it. I wouldn't want it any other way. And that's how you really get rid of laziness. Yeah, is by going through these first 4. I believe I understand what it's going to give me as a benefit. I want those benefits. I've got to practice. I'll just push myself and make myself time, whatever strategies you need. Eventually doing it is going to give you this feeling of practiced ease. Like, I'm good at it. I enjoy it, which makes you want to just return. Like, you wouldn't think of not doing it. Then you can get forgetting the instructions, which the remedy is remember the instructions. Yeah. This is the part of meditation where you bring your mind back to the object. And here's the trick. Don't feel bad. Feel good that you found your mind off the object and that you brought it back. Why would I be telling you to feel good?
Reward.
Yeah. So if you feel bad, you're just going to start feeling bad every time your mind is off the object.
Increasing your suffering.
Exactly. You're just exponentially expanding your suffering in the deep state of meditation that you're at. Even worse. Yeah, exactly. So we can do it for a long time. We have an old habit that we should feel like shit. You don't need to feel like shit. This is a technology to get you out of feeling bad, guilty, unworthy. Your powerful devices for enlightenment. You have everything available to you. You just have old habits that all humans have, which is you're not good enough, you're a terrible person, you're going to fail, everything's going to go wrong, I think I'll go eat worms. Yeah? You don't need to feel that way. This is your ticket out if you work it. If you don't work it, the old habits will win over you. So then you have, how do you deal with mental dullness and agitation? This alarm bell that goes off. You sort of preset your mind. You sort of, either you can think of it as a watcher that gets triggered every time your mind drops too much or is too heightened. I've got no battery. That's fine. Let's do it. I've got 3%. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you, Antonio and Stefan. So the alarm, what did I write there? The alarm is either watching, going, oh, quick, Hector, you got to do something. Things are falling sleepy. Or, come on, Hector, you got to do something. Things are getting too agitated, right? That's the antidote to mental dullness and agitation. Did I put that up there or not yet?
No.
There we go. And then after that, you do something about it. So if your mind is down, there's a bunch of practices to get it up. Oops. There's a bunch of practices to get your mind higher. And there's a bunch of practices if your mind is too hyper to bring your mind down, right? So you give me some examples from what you studied here before. To bring, okay, just the breath. Let's go for the breath, okay? If your agitation is what you're addressing, how would you do that with your breath?
Focus on the
Exhale longer.
Exactly. Focus on the exhale more and more. Focus on the exhale. That will bring subtly your mind down. If you're in dullness and you want to bring your mind up, yeah, focus on the inhale. Focus on the inhale. Yeah. Don't try and control it. Just focus on it. If you need to, you can then go a little harsher. Yeah. If you need to, you can flatter your eyes a little bit if you're dull and you want to wake up. Yeah. If you need to, eventually you can get up and stretch or do something and then sit down. Meditation, any of those. And for agitation to bring it down, think of death. Okay.
What?
No, you're going to think of death. If you're agitated and you want to bring your mind down to dullness, if you want to quiet you down, get a reality check. You're going to die any moment. Meditation on death is one of the faster ones you can.
I usually you're ready for it. If you're not, you just freak out.
Or you can freak out, which can be like.
It makes you more agitated.
There's a list of them in ACI 3. And last, what do you think the antidote is to the last one? Taking action when
You
you're.
said that was for agitation, not dullness.
It's to bring down from agitation, bring your mind down. Yeah, to bring your mind down. It's not to get it
I
excited.
don't find it that.
Then don't use it for you.
I know.
That's what the advice is.
Yeah.
Taking action when it's not required. What do you think the antidote would be?
Stop taking
Don't
action.
take action, right? Which just, it just means, if you analyze that, it just means you have some doubt in your ability. That's all it means. It's like you're sitting there going, maybe I haven't figured it out, maybe, yeah. Kill that bastard. If you got in your mind in a state of meditation, the worst that can happen at that point is you get subtle dullness, right? But if you figured it out, just write it for a little bit and see the results of it. And then analyze it later and then go back and do a bit. Test the waters about staying in a meditative state, whatever the object is. Obviously, we'll talk next week about the object, which is the higher the object, the more powerful the result. So it's not that, I'll give you a quick summary of next week, right? Meditation isn't just about focusing on turds. Yeah, it's about focusing on the highest possible thing you can that will get you to a state where you want to be, which is free from suffering. You and the entire world. Lastly, we are doing the 30-day meditation challenge. Are you happy now? Yeah. The 3 Jewels desperately needs everybody's help to fundraise and put out what we do into the world between now and the end of the year. Because we're moving, and I don't want to risk us moving and not having enough funds to pay for the exorbitant rent that we're going to have to pay because we got kicked out of here because of rent. So if you can support any of the people who are doing the 30-day meditation challenge, like Noga, like Rachel and Sarah, like Michael and Hannibal and Janina, whose birthday it is today. Hi, Janina, happy birthday. Right? All these people are posting on Facebook their 30-day challenge. It's really good, and they're getting people to help them. If everybody that comes to the 3 Jewels reaches out to their network and raises just $1,500, which is 10 people, 15 people giving them $100 each, this place is set for a year, which is what we need to not freak out over the next year as we figure out a new location, a new schedule, a coffee shop, new street traffic. It really is worth it. It's been alive in New York for 21 years. I haven't asked for help for the 3 Jewels in this way before, and I'm going to keep asking until I know the 3 Jewels is safe. So whatever you can do to contribute, whether it's sharing, supporting these people and all the others that are doing it, there's 26 people already signed up, doing each of them fundraising individually, which I'll show you weekly. Please support this place, and please support the people meditating. Thank you, Noga. I loved your post. It's really good. On another note, we have an anonymous donor who said, I will give $200 to the first 10 people that reaches $200 in their meditation challenge, which means you did it already? So you get another $200, so yours goes from 200
That's
to
not
400.
fair.
So anyway, so his pledge to double the first 10 people that reach $200, which is really cool for the 3 Jewels, right? It means you're raising $400 by raising 200. Yeah. So,
I have $284.
good. Thank you.
I have
So
$3.
You're almost there.
Literally, it's something different.
If you guys sign up, you'll get emails from us like weekly, maybe even a little bit more than that, with like posts that you can just copy and paste, with photo content, with videos that you can share. So don't feel like you have to like create your own, like take photos of yourself and like write your own thing. I've been doing little templates that you can copy and paste, and then Hector sent me a bunch of photos of like all the work that we do with DHS and in Nepal and in our different trainings. So you'll have stuff to share on social media or in an email So just know that there's a support system. There's also a meditation kit that you access with a private URL that has guided meditations, more instruction on meditation.
But know this, ultimately, the Three Jewels is moving to a new place. It's going to be a vibrant new place in New York. We're going to make it work, like it or not. But the more people help, the easier it is on a bunch of people that are doing the heavy lifting for the Three Jewels. So if everybody does a little bit between now and the end of the year, it would be a blessing to keep this place going with the ease that we've been able to do it so far. So like I said, I don't usually ask for financial help. I'm sort of shy about that. But the Three Jewels needs it more than ever. So whatever it is that you need to do, talk to us and we can help you figure out how you can help. If it's not financially, then it's promoting, whatever. Yeah, we really need it.
And just click the contribute button on the upper right-hand corner of the website, and it will take you, if you want to donate or if you want to participate in the challenge, that's the button that you press. And everything will be clear from there.
Anthony, thank you for letting me keep you. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Every goodness we just did is banked. We can triple it, like that guy, by offering it or giving it away.
Sashi.
Cookie Jishin Metop Tram Rerouting Shin Yinde Badi Sange Shindu Mite Guargi Droken Namda Shinla Chuparsho Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami
Dewa.
Dear Open Sunam Yashe Sok Sok Shin Sunam Yashe Junwe Rampa Kuni Tobarsho. Thank you for the blessing of sharing this with each other. I can't believe you just finished 27 lists. May it stay in your minds and may it make a difference to the way you walk in your skin and the way you appear to the people around you. You're way more than just people. If you can taste it, you can become it. And I hope you do, over and over. Thank you. Yeah, blessings to all of us.